Welcome back, and joining me for a closer look at what's played out on the market scene today is Cremen from Adviceworx. Thank you so much for your time, Caroline. Let's actually start off with that GDP figure that we got from China. Of course, we know all the headwinds that the country is facing, domestic consumption issues, but also the trade talks and trade tensions between China and the U.S. Third quarter matching analyst expectation, but it did slow from the previous quarter. What does this spell for the country's efforts in terms of pulling itself out of these lingering headwinds?
The thing is that the issues really started before the trade wars. So I think the trade wars just exacerbated it. You definitely want to see a rise in domestic consumption. There are still issues in the real estate market. And just overall, Chinese consumer confidence is not great. And when your consumer confidence is not great, your economy tends not to shoot the lights out. That obviously has implications for South Africa as well, because, China is a big consumer of some of our goods, especially our metals. But like I said, it was as expected. Hopefully this week will be the end of US-China trade tensions, although I wouldn't put money on it. But at least we might get a little bit more clarity at some stage this week.
All right.
That depends on the outcome of, the soybeans, the fentanyl, and the other issues that Mr. Trump has at any point in time. Rare earths. Oh, yes, I forgot all about that.
Yeah. All right. Well, as you're talking about soybeans, let's get into an agri-focused company that is Cow Group. They released a year-end trading update today, and we saw notable growth in a trading profit, which is kind of their key performance metric, and that is due to filter through to growth in recurring headline earnings per share. We did see that share jumping over 7%. What did you get out of that update?
It's actually quite interesting because, of course, they've got the three divisions. You've got your fuel division, which is up, I think, about 5%. Retail was relatively weak, up about 4%. But the really interesting part of it, and this is contrary, I think, to their expectations and certainly everybody else's expectations, of mine including, is that they saw higher export volumes. Go figure. It was up 8%, the agricultural division. So it just shows, that if you've got a good business and it's well run and it's tightly run, you can get through any type of, most types of economic volatility and trade upsets. So very, very nice under the circumstances. Well, just nice anyway, but very, very nice, particularly under these circumstances.
All right. Well, I mean, circumstances that have not been good for the property sector include high interest rates, but we have seen a turnaround there. And I guess maybe we can see that with Baldwin as they release their interim trading statement, saying that they expect headline earnings per share to accelerate by as much as 30%. We didn't get much detail, but the share price did climb about 6%. What are the markets encouraged by them?
Well, I think just remember this share is relatively illiquid, so I think people maybe just took notice of it today and decided to go in. This is a very, very good company. It's just one of those. I must admit, during COVID, I thought this was the type of company that wouldn't see the outside of COVID, and then they just did particularly well. They're very good about picking their locations. They're good about their pricing. They're good about their marketing. It's just very, very tightly managed. And it just shows that you can actually do well in the South African property market. You just have to pick your niche and be exceptionally good at it. And they are.
Well, a company like that as well that has picked its niche and is doing well is Spear. Of course, we know that they are focused in the Western Cape. They released their interim results, distributable income per share rising over 5%. They highlighted the rising tide of tenant activity and strengthening market fundamentals. Is this a steady eddy?
It really appears to be so. I mean, Spear is going to go as the Western Cape goes. So, the income is, I honestly can't say I was too thrilled about the income. It was up 5%. The HEPS was up 12%, though. But, it's got a very, very nice property portfolio. If you drive around the Western Cape, you do see, their sign because that's where they are. And, they've got nice industrial. They've got nice commercial, nice retail. So, and also they seem to be quite good at making acquisitions. They made a nice big acquisition during the period, and that yield was at 9.5%, which was actually, I think was actually quite attractive as well. What was interesting for me two things about their commentary was that, they do put these disclaimers in, and their disclaimer is barring that there's no load shedding or social unrest, which is probably something you don't necessarily see in any other part of the world. But I think what was hopeful was that they did mention that tenants continue to absorb, high municipal charges. And as if you live in the Cape, the Western Cape, you do know that the Western Cape municipality hiked their municipal charges and other charges quite substantially this year. So it's interesting to see that their tenants are able to absorb that.
Okay.
Which is a good sign.
All right. Well, what are you absorbing into your portfolio? Your stock pick for today, Caroline?
Well, I'm going to play a little dangerous here, and it's Ferrari, share code RACE, race. And this is not really, it is a motor vehicle company, but it behaves more like a luxury good company. And it has an exceptionally loyal customer base, a very large moat, and an operating margin of 30%, and that's about 20% higher than its closest rival, which is Porsche. Now, it has done phenomenally well, and with the market pricing it so highly, it was really priced to perfection at a very high valuation. They had a capital market day last week, and they disappointed totally, and as a result, the share price is actually down quite substantially this year, and I think it's down about 17% over the year basis. So it just shows if something is priced highly and overpriced, you're going to be punished. That said, it's a very, very good company. You're seeing their first electric vehicles come to the market at the end of 2026. It's not going to have this massive growth that people anticipate, and their guidance is only for about 6% revenue growth. But this is a management that actually does guide quite conservatively, so it may very well be higher than that. And just to give an indication of where they missed, they predicted revenue in 2030 of 9 billion euros as opposed to what the analysts thought was 10 billion euros. So, probably a bit of an overreaction, but it's a nice price point to start picking off some of those things and adding it to your portfolios.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time and for your insights on what has been moving investors' money today, Caroline. That was Caroline Cremen from Adviceworx.